Night Curry was in full effect last night as the Warriors beat the Celtics in overtime, 132-126. I need you guys to go ahead and spam your Z's down in the comments below if you want to see more Night Curry throughout the rest of the season. What's going on, Dub Nation? Happy Victory Wednesday, I believe. I am your host of Warriors Today, Allie Barefoot, and I'm going to be breaking down, are the Warriors back on today's show? And what I mean by that is the fact the Warriors actually had a team meeting last week, and since then, they've lost one game and won three, including beating the top team in the Eastern Conference, the Celtics, last night. But I want to know what happened. Why has this now changed? Was it just a meeting? Was the Warriors not on the same page? I find that hard to believe. Well, I think there's been some key players that have really stepped up and proven they need to be playing for the Warriors. One of those players being Jonathan Kuminga. After last night, he did speak on that players meeting, and he said, look, we're obviously a great team. We've got great players, including Hall of Famers, and they're not here to lose a game. They're not here to rebuild. That's not their job. So obviously they have confidence every day they come into work. They're not coming to lose the game. They're coming to win. And JK reiterated, he said, look, me and the rest of the young guys, we've got to adapt to a point where we don't need to be losing every time. It becomes something where it brings confidence to everybody and motivation to come every day to work and making sure we get the wins. Look, I think Jonathan Kuminga has said it himself. He deserves a starting spot. He's been starting the past few games since that Draymond Green has been out, but I don't think JK should be taken out of this lineup anytime soon. I would rely once again on the younger guys. Even though Steve Kerr doesn't like to play young, I think he needs to change that mindset. Because did you see this play? Jonathan Kuminga had a steal and slam dunk on the Celtics in overtime to put the first points on the board in overtime. I mean, it was a beautiful steal from Al Horford to Jason Tatum. He slipped right in and took it to the house. These are plays that I love to see from 21-year-old players with fresh legs who have that competitive mindset and realize, look, I'm not here to rebuild either. I'm here to help the veterans get another ring. Plus, they've had to make a lot of lineup changes because Draymond Green's been out, and he's likely to be out for the next 3 weeks. So, in the past 4 games, like I said, they've had 3 wins and 1 loss. Here's the lineup Kerr has gone with. Of course, you got Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, who is in there. Klay Thompson, who has played a lot better these past 8 games or so, I believe. And, of course, you got Kevon Looney down there in the paint, still not putting a lot of baskets back up on the glass, but averaging about 5 points per game the last 4 games. And then look at the 2 guys on the sides. Brandin Podziemski, Jonathan Kuminga. Young players. And I mean young. Look at the youngest players on the Warriors right now. Podziemski's 21 years old. Jonathan Kuminga, 21 years old. Moses Moody and Trayce Jackson-Davis, of course. Moses is also 21 years old, and TJD is 23. We're going to talk about Trayce Jackson-Davis a little bit later in this video because I have a lot to say. But nonetheless, I'm okay with playing young if they're actually helping the Warriors win, which, as of last night, it definitely looks like they are. So I need you guys to go ahead and spam 00 in the comments to show Jonathan Kuminga some love. He has been playing phenomenal the past few games. And look, even when Draymond Green returns, I think Jonathan Kuminga has proved he deserves a spot on the Warriors starting lineup. But not just Jonathan Kuminga. I think Trayce Jackson-Davis, maybe not in the starting lineup just yet, but definitely at least in the rotation. Look, he deserves more minutes. From what I saw going up against the Celtics last night and the previous games before that, he had a career-high 29 minutes against the Celtics, and I loved every single one of them. I'm going to break down TJD's play in just a few moments, but first, I want to tell you guys about an amazing sponsor that we have here on Warriors Today, and of course, that is Factor Meals. Factor Meals is a fresh, never frozen meal service that makes my life so much easier, especially around the holidays. You guys can get started right now by going to factormeals.com/DubsChat50 using promo code DubsChat50 to get 50 off. Now, if you're wondering what Factor Meals is, well, it's actually chef-crafted recipes that are delivered right to your door, and they take less than 2 minutes to heat up and enjoy. No mess, no prep, no fuss. Like I said, perfect for the holiday season. And there's over 35 different recipes you guys can choose from. Like, you know me, I got a sensitive stomach. So the fact that I get to have 35 different options and more to really help make sure that I'm getting a healthy, dietitian-approved meal, oh, chef's kiss. Not to mention they actually have breakfast, lunch, and to-go snacks as well. I have loved their smoothies. I drink one almost every single morning, and it starts me off just right. If you guys want to get started, just go to factormeals.com/dubschat50. Use promo code dubschat50, and you're going to get 50% off. All right, let's break down what TJD did against the Celtics. He had 10 points, 13 rebounds, 3 blocks, including a phenomenal block against Jaylen Brown, which I'll talk about later. And he shot 71% from the field, going 5 for 7. He wasn't just chucking it up there. He made reasonable shots and made them. I love to see that in a time crunch kind of game. So this was actually the best 5 on the floor versus the Celtics. You had Trayce Jackson-Davis there at center. He ended the night with 10 points. Chris Paul with 9. Jonathan Kuminga with 17. And then the Splash Brothers were back in effect. 33 points from Curry, 24 from Klay Thompson. I'm going to break it down just one more layer here and talk about what these 5 did as a whole against the Celtics. They played 12.7 minutes. They combined 32 points. They had 14 rebounds. Okay, TJD had 13 the entire night, 8 assists, and they were shooting 46% from the field. It's a lineup I never thought I would see, especially against the top team in the East, but it works. Trayce Jackson-Davis works with the veterans. I don't give a shit about how old he is, Steve Kerr. If he's playing well, you need to play him. Because this play alone, as they were winding down, about to head into overtime, solidified why Trayce should be playing. He put Jaylen Brown on a poster. He stuffed him. He smacked the ball away. Jaylen Brown is the highest paid player in the NBA, and TJD put it down in primetime minutes. I mean, come on. It doesn't matter how old you are. You do that, you deserve to play, in my opinion. And I'm not the only one that thinks so. Steve Kerr, after the game, he said, look, on Trayce Jackson-Davis, he's going to play. He's going to be in the lineup. He clarified, maybe not the starting lineup, but he will be in the rotation. And you know what? That's great, Steve Kerr. I love to hear that. But it sounds super familiar because I think we have heard you say this before. Literally a month ago, you said the exact same thing about Brandin Podziemski after he popped off against the Timberwolves when Draymond Green was ejected and Klay Thompson was ejected. You said, he's going to play. He's going to play every night. Are you kidding me? But yet he didn't play him. They lost to the Kings by 1 after blowing this huge lead. Brandin Podziemski had 0 minutes in that game. If you're going to say stuff, by all means, but stick to your word. So I think it's great that he thinks that Trayce Jackson-Davis could play, but he also thought Brandin Podziemski could play and didn't put him in the rotation. So I don't know if TJD is going to see any more minutes, but I know it's a confidence killer if you're going to play with his emotions like that and say you're going to play him and then bench him for the next few games, especially if Draymond Green is supposed to come back in the next 3 to 4 weeks and you put Draymond Green back in and you don't even look at Trayce Jackson-Davis, you don't even look at Jonathan Kuminga, because that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried that Draymond's going to come back and he's just going to get to play because it's Draymond Green, because he's a veteran, because that's what Steve Kerr does. He doesn't play the players who are playing best, or at least he hasn't this season. And I'm not saying TJD or JK are better than Draymond Green. I'm just saying the stats this season are proving they're more effective than Draymond Green has been in the games he actually has been there for. Now, Steve Kerr did reiterate, and he said, look, both guys were great. Talking about Jonathan Kuminga and Trayce Jackson-Davis. They give us athleticism, the bounce with the length and the ability to block shots and challenge shots. Both JK and Trayce were really a big factor in our defense, kind of getting back in the game in the second half. I think they were a lot more effective than just in the second half. Like I said, I hope that Draymond Green comes back and he is just a full force for the Warriors. But if not, I think Trayce Jackson-Davis and Jonathan Kuminga have solidified a place in the rotation for the Warriors. If you guys agree with me, go on ahead and spam TJD down in the comments below. If you want to see him have more minutes, I mean, guys, he's 23 years old. I think the Warriors got an absolute steal with Trayce in the draft. Nonetheless, go ahead and hit that sub button for me. I apologize for my voice. I've been dealing with a little bit of flu game here, but nonetheless, we will put out multiple videos a week and let you guys know everything you need to know about the Golden State Warriors. All you have to do is hit that sub button for me.